Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn the story Who Did Patrick's Homework by Carol Moore. Patrick never did homework. Too boring, he said. He played hockey and basketball and Nintendo instead. His teachers told him, Patrick, do your homework or you won't learn a thing. And it's true, sometimes he'd feel like an ignoramus. But what could he do? He hated homework. Patrick is not doing any homework. He thought that was too boring. He's playing hockey, basketball, and Nintendo. What is Nintendo? It's a video game. Teachers told every time, Patrick, do your homework. Then only you will learn something. Otherwise, you won't learn a thing. And it's true. Sometimes he'd feel like an ignoramus. Ignoramus means an ignorant person or a stupid person. He felt like a stupid person. But what could he do? He hated homework. Patrick hated homework. Then one day, he found his cat playing with a little doll and he grabbed it away. To his surprise, it wasn't a doll at all, but a man of the tiniest size. He had a little wool shirt with old fashioned breeches and a high tall hat much like a witch's. He yelled, Save me! Don't give me back to that cat! I'll grant you a wish. I promise you that. What happened? His cat was playing with a little doll and he grabbed it away. Patrick snatched it away from the cat. To his surprise, it wasn't a doll at all. Actually, that was not a doll. Then what was that? A man of the tiniest size. It was a tiny man. A little doll. He had a little wool shirt. The tiny man had a little woolen shirt, with old-fashioned breeches. Breeches means short trousers. Woolen shirt and short trousers. The high, tall hat. High, tall hat also he had. This little man. Much like witch's hat. A tall hat he had, this little man. He yelled, he cried, he called, Save me, don't give me back to that cat. Cat was playing with this little doll. Actually, that was not a little doll. Don't give me back to that cat. I will grant you a wish. I will permit you a wish. I promise you that. Don't give me back to that cat. Patrick couldn't believe how lucky he was. Here was the answer to all of his problems. So he said, Well, if you do all my homework till the end of the semester, that is 35 days. If you do a good enough job, I could even get A's. Patrick couldn't believe. Now he has got a little man. Here is the answer to all of his problems. Now he can do with the help of the little man. He can do everything. He can do every homeworks. Here was the answer to all of his problems. Actually, what was his problem? He is not doing any homework. That was his problem. And here is the answer. So he said, well, if you do all my homework till the end of the semester, Patrick is telling to this little man, you have to do my homework. Well, if you do all my homework till the end of the semester, that is 35 days. 35 days you have to do all my homework. If you do a good enough job, I could even get A's. After doing all these homeworks, after 35 days, I could get A's. I may get A's. The little man's face wrinkled like a dishcloth thrown in the hamper. He kicked his legs and doubled his fists, and he grimaced and scowled and pursed his lips. Oh, am I cursed? But I'll do it. The little man's face wrinkled like a cabbage, folded like a dishcloth. Here it is like a dishcloth, compared to a dishcloth. Little man's face. Little man's face wrinkled like a dishcloth thrown in the hamper. Hamper means a basket with a lid. Like a dishcloth. Face wrinkled like a dishcloth thrown in the hamper. He kicked his legs and doubled his fists. That shows what? Showing his disgust, anger, and disapproval. His face had these expressions: disgust, anger, and disapproval. Oh, am I cursed? Cursed means damned. But I'll do it. Anyway, I will do all your homeworks. And true to his work, the little elf began to do Patrick's homework. Except there was one glitch. The elf didn't always know what to do and he needed help. Help me, he would say. And Patrick would have to help in whatever way. The little elf, who is that elf? Dwarf, fairy, the little man. The little elf began to do Patrick's homework. Now, elf is doing Patrick's homework. Except there was one glitch. What is glitch? One problem. What was the problem? The elf didn't always know what to do and he needed help. Elf didn't know what to do and he needs help. Help me. Every time he is telling, help me, he would say, and Patrick would have to help in whatever way. Anyway, Patrick has to help this elf. I don't know this word, the elf squeaked while reading Patrick's homework. Get me a dictionary. Know what's even better? Look up the word and sound it out by each letter. Elf is telling every time, help me, help me. I don't know this word. The elf squeaked. Squeaked means made high-pitched sound. Every time elf needs a help and Patrick has to help this elf while reading Patrick's homework. Get me a dictionary. He needs a help. Elf needs a help. No, what's even better? Look up the word and sound it out by each letter. So every time Patrick has to help this elf. When it came to maths, Patrick was out of luck. What a timetable! The elf shrieked. We elves never need that. And addition and subtraction, division and fractions. Here, sit down beside me. You simply must guide me. Elves know nothing of human history. To them, it's a mystery. So the little elf, already a shouter, just got louder. Go to the library. I need books, more and more books. And you can help me read them too. When it came to maths homework, Patrick was out of luck. He was not lucky. Why? What are timetables? The elf shrieked. Patrick has to help the elf every time. Now it is the time to do the homework. Max homework. Shriek means gave a short, high-pitched cry. Elf shrieked. We elves never need that. Elves is the plural form of elf. We elves never need that. We are not doing any homeworks like this. In addition, subtraction, division, and fractions. We are not doing anything like this. Here, sit down beside me. You simply must guide me. Every time Patrick has to help this elf. Sit down beside me. You simply must guide me. Elves know nothing of human history. We don't know anything about human history. We don't know addition, subtraction, division, fractions. To them, it's a mystery. To the elves, this is a mystery. They don't know anything about human history. So the little elf, already a shouter, just got louder. Go to the library. I need books. I need help. More and more books. Then only I can do this. And you can help me read them too. Not only getting books from the library, you have to read all these books. As a matter of fact, every day in every way, that little elf was a nag. Patrick was working harder than ever. It was a drag. He was staying up nights, had never felt so weary, was going to school with his eyes puffed and blurry. As a matter of fact, every day in every day, every way, a little elf was a nag. Nag means harass. Every time it is troubling me. Every time elf needs help from Patrick. Patrick was working harder. Now Patrick is working very hard than ever. And was it a drag? Drag means something dull and uninteresting. Now Patrick started working. He was staying up nights. He is working very hard. He is helping elf every time. Had never felt so weary. Weary means tired. He was not tired. Had never felt so tired. He has to help elf every time. Was going to school with his eyes puffed and blurry. Going to school. Next day when he goes, his eyes will be puffed. Puffed means out of breath and blurry, dim or dull. Because he is working every time. He is working for the elf. He is helping the elf. Working for the elf. Doing homeworks. Every homeworks. Finally, the last day of school arrived and the elf was free to go. As for homework, there was no more. So he quietly and slyly slipped out of the back door. Finally, what happened last day, after 35 days? The last day of the school arrived and the elf was free to go. Now, elf is allowed to go. As for homework, there was no more. Every homework's finished. Now, elf can go. So he quietly and slyly means secretively. Secretively he slipped out of the back door. He escaped. After doing all the homeworks, now elf is free to go. Patrick got his A's. What happened at the end? Patrick got his A's. His classmates were amazed. His teachers smiled and were full of praise. And his parents? They wondered what had happened to Patrick. He was now the model kid. Cleaned his room, did his chores, was cheerful, never rude, like he had developed a whole new attitude. At last, Patrick got A's, did all the homeworks. His classmates were amazed, they were surprised. Teachers smiled and were full of praise. Every teacher's praising him. What about parents? They wondered. They had what had happened to Patrick? They were thinking. What happened to Patrick? He was now a model kid. Now he has become a model kid. Model for everyone, every students. Cleaned his room. Cleaning his room. Did his chores. He is doing his tasks, doing his work. Was cheerful every time. Never rude, never impolite, bad mannered. He had developed a whole new attitude. A feeling about someone or something. Actually, he has changed. He is cleaning his room, doing all his work. He is happy, never rude. You see, in the end, Patrick still thought he had made that tiny man do all his homework. But I'll share a secret just between you and me. It wasn't the elf, Patrick had done it himself. At the end, Patrick still thought he had made that tiny man do all his homework. Actually, Patrick was working very hard all these days. All these 35 days he has been working very hard, and he started learning. He started doing every activities, cleaning his room, doing all the tasks. Patrick still thought he had made that tiny man do all his homework, but I'll share a secret. Just between you and me, it wasn't the elf. Actually, it was not the elf. Elf got the help from Patrick every time. Every time Patrick has to help the elf. And Patrick did everything. Patrick had done it himself. He did every homework. He has been working all days and he studied everything. He learned everything. Now he knows how to clean the room, how to manage all the tasks, everything.